Hello, everyone, and welcome to round number 9 of the Misfits Racing League Season 2. Except today is a little different. We are debuting an entire new division for the remainder of the Season 2 campaign. So, joining me today in the commentary booth is, for today's race, Mr. Henry, and hopefully for the rest of Tier 2. Henry, how are you doing today?
I'm all right. How are you, Striff?
Not too bad. Super excited to get into Silverstone here. As you can see, we have the circuit on screen. Silverstone, one of the oldest circuits on the calendar, if not the oldest circuit. Of course, the birthplace of it all. This is Silverstone Circuit. It is the British Grand Prix, and we have the second division kicking things off here today, followed by the Tier 1 boys that we've been following all season long, including yourself, Henry. So we are going to jump
Cannot
on
wait.
over to the calendar here. Take a look at where we've gone so far. We've been through Abu Dhabi, Canada, France, Austria, Spain, Russia, Brazil, and most recently, Germany after our Easter break last week. And holy hell, was that a race to watch? I could not believe the amount of carnage in there. Henry, that was a race that you got to drive. Walk us through how that went on your end. I know that that was a completely hectic race, super chaos. What do you think we're going to be seeing here today for Silverstone? Much of the same, or hopefully a little more of a cool and collected race?
To be honest, lap one will be very key. First turn will be quite tricky for some. I know there'll be quite a few accidents, perhaps. Hopefully not, though. Hope some clean racing.
Of course, we always want clean racing. Now, Italy is next week for round number 10, of course, and then following that, we're going to see our Tier 2 drivers start things off today in Britain, which means they have 9 races to go until the end of the season. They're going to be visiting Italy as well as Belgium, Hungary, Bahrain, Baku in Azerbaijan, of course, Australia, Mexico, and they will be wrapping things up for their season in Japan as well. With that being said, let's take a look at the newest division grid. We are going to have Extreme and Stevo in the Ferraris, Astrodite and Jeb over at Haas, Racer 33 in the Renault, and excuse me, King Val will not be joining us for today's race as he has dropped out last minute. Liam and Luktra over at Mercedes, Robbo and Maxim in the Alfa Romeo cars. It's a Max and Juicebox in the Red Bulls. Tammy Halla and Kai Bacchini are supposed to be taking their seats over at Williams. Jay and Matt in McLaren, and Bois and Gadwin in the Toro Rossos, with CJ Virtual and Ferge Pavia in the Racing Points. So that is how the grid is going to be lining up ahead of today's race in Silverstone. Of course, the Tier 2 grid is going to be sharing the exact same rule set as our Tier 1 grid. So it is going to be a short 18-minute qualification ahead of a 50% distance race. And I hope these guys are prepared for it. As I will say this, I'm super excited that we got these guys here on the grid ready to race today. How are we looking in the lobby for the race, Henry?
Tammy has just been. She's been told me that she's not racing, so.
All right then. So Tammy,
too shorts, I guess.
too short on the grid, and you know what? That's okay. That's okay.
Yes.
It's the first day. It's the first day. Everybody, I'm super happy to everybody who's been able to join us for the race today. But of course, we should be getting ready to load things in now. It's 2 minutes to race time. But I do believe everybody that's going to be racing is here. So, Henry,
So.
I leave it to you to begin the lobby at your ready.
Okay.
Now, of course, everyone, if you are joining us, this is MRL Season 2, round number 9. It is the British Grand Prix. It is Silverstone, and we are going to be taken to the grid with our first Tier 2 race of the season. If you're just joining us, be sure to hit that follow button. It's going to be a long ride as we got two 50% distance races to cover today. Mikal will be with us later on as well, as Henry is just finalizing some settings here on the grid. Thank you very much, BTFU, for the gifted sub to Matt R 1290 in the chat. Thank you to Liam, Shenjay, CJ Virtual for the follows as well, as I do believe that means we've hit over 100 followers here on Twitch, and I am super excited to say that. So thank you very much to all of you who have followed us here on our journey through Season 2 of Misfits Racing.
All right, everyone should be ready up now. Yep, in 20 seconds we begin.
For those of you that are wondering how we were able to string together this grid so quickly, we had a fantastic pool of reserve drivers who were more than ready to take on the full-time driver role. And what better way to do that than to introduce a completely different tier where all of these drivers will be able to contribute to their own standings and points, as well as their team constructors' standings as well. And we'll have updates for you guys when we hit Italy next week on how things unfolded in the standings for this tier when we take up the race at the Temple of Speed. And after this race, of course, we're going to have the Tier 1 boys who have already fought through 8 rounds of hard-fought racing here, taking to the circuit as well. So it's going to be a fantastic afternoon of F1 virtual racing.
Mikhail would like to race, I've just seen, so we might as well get him in. Get some competition. Oh, no. Looks like a dry quali. Maybe some rain later on in the quali.
If anybody is currently in game, able to give us an update on how things are looking weather-wise, that would be greatly appreciated. But of course, we're going to see who goes out here. We got Maxim jumping onto the hard compound tires for what may be his first lap. But that is, I do believe, CJ coming out of the hits first here in the Racing Point. So we'll go on board with him, talk a little bit about this circuit, Silverstone.
It's iconic.
Iconic. The iconic Silverstone, of course. Henry, as an Englishman, you must love this circuit.
Oh, I'm not a fan to race on it, but I love watching it, so there's something. I'm not very fast, so...
So many high-speed corners here as we see CJ come down the Wellington Straight.
Maxim B going for the hard option. Maybe just a tester, warm things up.
We got 16 drivers here for Tier 2. We'll go down the names. We got Maxim. We got the Funky JJ, a.k.a. Jay, Bois, Matt, It's a Max, Kai Bacchini, Extreme, CJ Virtual, Juicebox, Liam, Gadwin, Ferge37, Robbo, Aphrodite, Jeb, and Luktra. Now, some of these drivers have made appearances as reserves throughout the earlier races in the Tier 1 season. Of course, Maxim made his MRL debut as a reserve last week in Germany, which was a absolutely crazy race to drive in. Of course, Jay, he's reserved in 2 races here so far. We saw him in Canada and Germany last week as well, and he had a very, very hectic race in Germany as well. Matt, an MRL reserve driver who has made the jump to full-time here in Tier 2. He reserved for his debut last week as well. A great chunk of drivers joining us on the grid today, and I can't tell you how excited I am to see all of these guys perform, as CJ Virtual is on his flying lap now, making his way up through the loop.
Open the DRS on the Wellington Straight. See if they get good exit. It's gone a bit wide there. So we get a good exit out of that. A little bit of weird spin.
Coming down through into the cops section now. Maxim doing a good job of pulling over, realizing that Racing Point's on a flying lap.
Oh, yellow flag sector 1.
Looks like a Toro Rosso there off to the side. In sector 1 coming out of the pit lane.
It's Gadwin. extreme. He's lost it on the start. No front wing. It's about to start his flyer and he just lost it.
CJ Virtual now about to cross the line for his first lap of the session. And the first lap time we'll see from the session, it's going to be a 129.1 on the soft compound tire. So that is provisional pole for the time being. Taking a look now, I believe that might be Juicebox and CJ Virtual, or sorry, Bois. Bois crossing the line with provisional pole, a 126.8. Very good job from him on those soft compound tires. Jay jumps into second with a 128.388 on the medium compound tires. As we see the grid start to shuffle with all these drivers now crossing the line. On board with Matt in the McLaren now, as I do believe he's on his out lap. He's running things nice and low, just warming up, taking a stroll around the circuit. Maxim maybe on a flyer here. Looks like he's running into some traffic. That's CJ Virtual off to the side there, and I do believe Bois as well. Maxim now coming down through into Cops. We'll see what kind of time he's able to string together here on this lap in the Alfa Romeo.
Very clean through maggots. See if we can get a good track exit through Beckett's. It's very clean.
Ran a 104.8 through sector 2-3 split there. If I had to put my money on it, I'd say he's going to run around a 129.5 or a 130 here, just based on that sector split on those hards coming down through here. But it might be a little further back given those hard compound tires.
For sure.
And there's the 129.4, so I was about a tenth off on my guess there. So good job from him on the hard compound tires here to get a good banking lap in. He's P7 on the hardest compound we have available for these drivers. So Maxim looking quite rapid in that Alfa Romeo, but of course that 126.8, the current pole time, looking mighty good for Bois. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to beat that, as we got Astrodite, a 127.5 currently lining up next to him on the front row of the grid.
Looking forward to Luctra. He's shown his pace in Tier 1, so hopefully he can replicate that on Tier 2.
Would you say Luctra is your pick to win this race here today, or do you have anyone in mind to win this race, or do you kind of want to play it by ear and see how the first the first couple of laps go? I think Kai Bacchini is my dark horse of the day. He's looking very fast throughout the races we've seen him in open lobbies over the past month. Of course, he's looking very fast when racing with Nicholas Latifi, the Williams Formula 1 driver. So I'm hoping to see a good performance out of Kai Bacchini. Fun fact about Kai Bacchini is that he races in the ASN Racing League, and I have commentated a few races for them in the past, and Kai Bacchini was always one of those standout drivers. So I'm looking to get a good performance out of him today. As well as 127.9 by Matt. Very good for him on those softs. And he's up into third in the McLaren with his teammate Jay, who is also another driver who you may want to pay attention to throughout this race, as he had an absolutely stunning drive through Germany. I want to say he fell back to the rear end of the grid around twice, and he still managed to come out of that race relatively okay. Of course, the biggest moment for him in that race, I think, was that second or third safety car restart where he spun it coming through turn 1 of the Hockenheim ring. And he did an absolute bang-up job getting his car pulled off to the shoulder. He literally avoided everybody after spinning his car around that first turn. So he did an excellent job. It was great heads-up driving, and hopefully we'll see some of that heads-up driving today here in Silverstone.
It's a very nice lap from Matt, though. Very impressed. So Luctra's going in for probably a set of softs.
So yet to set a lap here, Kai Bacchini. We're going to jump on board with him now in that Williams.
Famous Williams on the Silverstone track.
Of course, if you are new to the stream, be sure to hit that follow button. We do league racing every Thursday, and it's a lot of fun. We appreciate all of your support, and we hope you enjoy this Tier 2 race. And don't go anywhere, because right after this, the Tier 1 boys are stepping it up onto the circuit as well, and they have quite a standings battle going on right now in both the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship. And there's going to be a few drivers on that grid looking for vengeance after the crazy race we had in Germany last week. Kai Beccini stepping across the line onto that front row with a 127.1. He is only 3/10 off of the pole leader right now. Bois in the Toro Rosso. Kai Beccini doing a good job here of getting his car up into those front running grid positions.
I should start looking to start up now. He's also very quick. He gets his right mind around.
Astrodite has also been a reserve driver throughout the season of Tier 1. And he is quite rapid as we see him now beginning his lap here, moving down through Abbey. Taking up his seat in the Haas vehicle today, and he is on the mediums right now, looking to possibly improve on that 127.5.
Open that DRS.
And for those of you looking at the timing tower right now, I can confirm that I do believe Bois did set that 126.8 on the soft compound tire. And I do believe he is just now going out on those mediums as we have Astrodite coming down through Sector 2, heading his way into the Cops corner. Keeping it pretty clean through Cops as we make our way into Maggots and Beckett's.
Jay just set a new best with a 127.5.
Very nice from the other McLaren, as we have both McLarens lining up 4-5 right now. A fantastic result for them so far here in qualifying with 7 minutes to go. Luchtra, though, in the Mercedes is pushing everyone back. He jumps onto the second grid position. He is on the front row with a 127 flat.
Luchtra's definitely my dark horse for this race.
Luchtra getting Henry's praise early here. As he crosses the line, that 127 flat. Gadwin with a retirement. Is there a problem? Where is Gadwin on circuit right now? It looks like he retired a car on circuit. As he is in the Toro Rosso. So he retired his car in the pits.
Lima just starting the flyer now on the soft compound, trying to improve his 128.5.
On board with Liam now. Of course, on screen right now, you can see all of the tires that these drivers started their laps on. As it is currently set the best tire, we'll switch it on over to current tires. See, there's a little bit of a shuffle there. Liam's best time, that 128.5 on the mediums. He is on the softs right now, on a flyer right now. I think he could be on for a solid grid position here. I think he's going to go top 5.
Low fuel.
Sets a purple sector 2 here. It was a 103 through that first sector.
Definitely top 5. Stash on the soft compound. Gives a very nice clean.
Liam, I can say I'm very excited to see how he performs today. That and Maxim as well, as they are my Canadian brothers on the grid today. Liam just outside of that top 5 right now. He crosses the line 6th position on the soft compound at 127.6. Now Maxim, who set his first time a 128.3 on those mediums, we'll see if he comes out to set another time on the softs, as he's going into the pits now.
I think Matt is on the flyer as well in the McLaren, trying to improve his 127.9.
And it looks like Matt is currently on an invalidated lap coming out of Beckett's.
Ah, yeah, just spotted that.
So most of the
Unfortunate.
drivers in the pits now, and I'll pay homage to Mick out here. This is what he likes to call the calm before the storm, as there is 4 minutes remaining in qualifying here. Everybody finalizing their fuel loads and tire selections ahead of one possible final lap to contest grid position here. It's a Max crosses the line of 129.6 there on the softs. He keeps going though. Looks like he may be going back-to-back laps here. Extreme in the Ferrari, he's on an invalidated running lap at the moment, and Jeb in the Haas is on an out lap looking to set his first time of the session. Only one of the 16 drivers retired at the moment. That's Gadwin in the Toro Rosso. Everyone else still hopefully able to put up a better time here to move their way ever so closer to the front of the grid. Bois, that 126.8 dominant here in this qualifying session so far, as he comes out on the soft compound tires now to begin an out lap ahead of the end of qualifying. If you guys are in the chat and have an idea of who you'd like to see winning this race, or you have any predictions for who the top 3 may be at the end of this Silverstone British Grand Prix, be sure to share them in the chat. We always love to see who you guys are rooting for.
Bra was very quick.
I can't begin
like
to
to see him
express how
fight with
excited I am
Russian.
to see Bois fighting here. Lutra also looking very quick. It's a tight grid. Make no mistake, it is still a tight grid. I did not realize how tight this grid was going to be coming into this race, and now that we've had our first qualifying session for the Tier 2 drivers, I think we're going to have a fantastic 9-race season for these guys.
I hope so.
Of course, for those of you that don't know, Tier 2 making their debut race today, they are going to be following along with the remaining calendar from our Tier 1 drivers. There is 9 races left starting today with the Silverstone circuit, and they will be finishing on along with our Tier 1 drivers on the infamous Suzuka Japanese circuit. On board with Bois now, as he is our current pole sitter, as he looks to improve his time. Check back in with him in just a moment here. I want to jump on over to Jeb, who is unfortunately on an invalidated lap. He's currently 16th in that Haas. I'm sure he's not having the performance he wanted to have today in that car. Bois, back on with him now.
Asher right over the line. Can he improve? No, he cannot improve.
No improvement from Astrodite, as he's still in P4 though. Extreme off to the side there in the Ferrari, making way for the Toro Rosso as he enters Maggots and Beckett's.
Matt shouldn't be standing still on the apex. Very risky. Oh, and Jep has retired. Very unfortunate for him.
And Bois improves to a 126.742, a very minor improvement, but an improvement no less. As all of these drivers now are about to finish out qualifying session here. We have 10 seconds remaining for these drivers to cross that line to begin their last lap. Kai Bacchini on a flyer in that Williams, currently in 3rd. Is he able to improve on his time? And he does. A 126.8. He is within a 10th of our pole sitter right now. It is looking spicy for that front row. Kai Bacchini doing a very good job of jumping onto the 2nd place grid position here.
Lukcha, going through Maggots. See if he can improve. Very clean. Purple sector 2, Luktra. Can he improve? Or a last corner.
It's looking like an improvement. It's a
Oh, and he
126.8, and he knocks Kai Boccini back to third. Luktra doing
Excellent
a
lap.
fantastic job of cementing that front row position with a 126.8. This grid is looking
Tasty.
quite fast. That is going to wrap up our qualifying session here. I do believe we don't have any more drivers waiting to set a lap here. You can see the Ferrari of Extreme just being pulled back into the garage there. And I do believe when that car enters the pit garage properly, we will see the finish of the session, as nobody else is running at the moment. We'll go down the grid in just a few moments. So there you have it, folks. That is the grid lineup ahead of our first ever Tier 2 Misfits Racing League race here for Silverstone. And it is Bois from the Toro Rosso squad taking up pole position, with Luktra lining up right next to him in second for Mercedes. Kai Boccini for Williams in third. Astrodate in fourth. Jay in fifth. Liam sixth. Matt in seventh. Maxim in eighth. CJ in ninth. Gadwin 10th. Ferg in 11th. Juicebox 12th. It's a Max in 13th, Robbo 14th, Extreme 15th with no time set, and Haas of Jeb in 16th there, no time set. So that is how things are shaping up ahead of the race here. And based on qualification, I don't believe we're going to see a weather impacted race here. As you can see there on screen, skies are clear here in England. So Silverstone is going to be a clear race for the Tier 2 drivers. Don't forget, the Tier 1 guys still have to roll the dice later on, as all of these drivers finalize their setups ahead of the
Do you actually have to put
formation
a
lap.
formation lap on? I
No
don't think
formation
I've put it
lap?
on, unfortunately.
Okay. So we
That's
may
quite
not have a
guys.
formation lap, as Henry hosting the lobby for a change today. A couple of kinks to work out, but of course those things will be worked out ahead of Italy, and no stress done. I don't think it's going to impact things too much, as these drivers haven't been with us racing for every race of the first tier. I don't think we'll see it impact them too much here. Hopefully
No.
all of them have been notified, and there is no formation lap. So it's going to be green light racing right off the hop here.
Away they
Bois
go.
coming down through turn one. There's a racing point off there.
Oh,
Looks
who's
like
that?
CJ and
Both are race points.
Bird, both racing points, off to a shaky start here in Silverstone. A little bit of a wheel tap from Kai Boccini on the rear of Bois. Luktra is into the lead of this race here on the opening lap. We have a Sector 1 yellow flag. I do believe that's a result of the racing points, but so far no safety cars to be made aware of. Luktra leading this race, Kai Boccini in third, Bois in second, who was in lead of this race come lights out. He has dropped back into second in that Toro Rosso. Jay in fourth, Liam fifth. We've had a huge shuffle of positions here. Let's take a look. You can see there Matt has dropped down to 16th position, not where he wants to be after a fantastic qualifying.
Oh, Gadwin and Maxim B side by side. That's it. Give it a position. Very nice. Well done to keep it clean.
So only 3 drivers on the grid right now, starting on the medium compound tires. Jeb, Gadwin, and Extreme are the 3. Everybody else on the grid on those softs. Gadwin getting a fantastic run down the hanger straight. He is catching up to Maxim right now, but we're going to jump back on over to Bois. Or excuse me, Astrodate, as Astrodate super close to the rear of Jay.
As a Max goes into pits, probably for a wing change, I guess.
So we have a Red Bull into the pits here after the first lap of racing.
Just go for the hard option.
We've got a very tight gap right now between first and fifth, as Jay is currently a second behind fourth position. Astrode, everything now spacing itself out down the grid. I do believe that is the racing point of Ferge, looking to go wheel to wheel with the Ferrari of Extreme. Very tight racing here. Ooh, there's some contact. That's Ferge. He's off onto the grass. Let's see what happens. Robbo takes a position off the racing point. The racing point comes back onto the circuit. That's Juicebox getting by him as well, and his teammate CJ, 9.2 seconds behind his teammate in 14th right now. So not the start the Racing Points wanted to have. Liam currently in 4th, trying to catch up with his teammate Luktra.
Not making man do cops. Goes a bit wide. Oh, Extreme retired from the session.
Is out of the session here. We have a yellow flag through sectors 2 and 3. Everyone having to slow down through Maggots and Beckett's there, as Extreme off to the right-hand side there, heading into that sequence of turns. Jump back on board with Liam as he is gaining on the Williams of Kai Bacchini.
Oh, Aphrodite and Liam, side by side. Sorry, Maxime B and J.
So Maxim dropping back into 7th. That's Jay in 6th right now, looking to charge through this field of drivers. Down through Luffield we go.
Oh, Max spun it. Juicebox and Robbo in for the pits for hard tyre. They must have gone to contact. Virtual safety car is out.
We have a VSC now. Everybody trying to drop their delta pace here. Not too sure what sparked the VSC, but you can see all of the drivers having to slow things down during the VSC conditions. We saw just for a moment there, Kai Bacchini had dropped back almost 2 seconds behind 2nd place. But as we see, we're on board with him now. Ooh, Kai Bacchini off onto the outside. Not too sure what happened there. It looks like he got a position off of Bois, but he is off. Is that going to impact his time? That's Liam up the inside of Kai Bacchini. Wheel to wheel through the first turn. Kai Bacchini has spun. He is off into the wall here through the final turn of the circuit. As these drivers wanted to enter lap 4, the stewards after this race definitely going to have to take a look at that. But right now it's a Mercedes 1-3 here in Silverstone. Bois is putting a wrench in their plans as he's currently running in 2nd place. Not too sure what happened there with Kai. It looks like he was a little off to the side. Liam and him wheel to wheel coming through that final turn, entering lap 4. No safety car. It was quite a violent slide from the car of Kai Bacchini and the Williams, but he has dropped now into 10th position. He has major wing damage on the front of that car. So we'll have to see what happens later on in this race, see if a safety car can maybe bring him back up to the front. But he was doing a fantastic job through the opening phase of this race. Bois still within half a second of Luktra for the fight for that race lead. Astrode, 2.6 seconds behind him in 3rd right now. Jeb has climbed his way into 8th position from the back of the grid in that Haas. He's doing a very good job on those medium tires, and he's looking to go long on those, of course. Still some battling we have here. Maxim and Jay are fighting, and that's Jay right now in 4th. Liam is in on that action as well. It looks like we've had a major shuffle of positions. What happened to Liam? What put him back into 6th place? These gaps are super tight right now as Bois is into the lead of this race as well. DRS playing a role.
Liam overtaking Maxime B. Ah, very nice to done.
Fortunately, we didn't catch that on stream right now, but the action is not over. Plenty of race to go left here. Lap 5 out of 26.
We got a yellow flag, sector 3.
Yellow flag, sector 3. Kai Bacchini is into the pits. Thank you for that update. So he's going to be getting that wing changed over. We'll have to take a look and see what kind of tires he jumps onto here. Liam, very tight to the rear of Jay, down through Luffield.
we've got a VSC deployed yet again.
So another VSC. That's 2 VSCs so far here throughout the race. I do believe we're allowed a maximum of 5 safety cars. So we'll see if a physical safety car happens to impact this race at all today. But given these VSCs, I don't know if it's going to be looking like it now. So everyone having to slow things down through this very fast section of circuit. We're on board with Liam at the moment. Luktra and Bois have been fighting throughout this entire race right now. We'll see what kind of jump he can get on the Toro Rosso here when the VSC ends. DRS is enabled. The VSC has gone offline, which means everyone is back to green flag racing speeds. And we'll see if Luktra can get a run on that Toro Rosso down through the pit straight here.
Bit too far away for that, I think. Maybe on the Wellington straight he can get him. Get a good exit. Very close racing by Bois and Lectra. Robbo is spun. Just after cops, it looks like. Matt's coming in. Again. Probably for another wing change.
Very unfortunate for the debut on his end there for McLaren. Luktra doing a fantastic job of keeping it behind Bois right now, but that's Liam very tight behind the McLaren of Jay. Is he going to make a move here? He's on the inside of the McLaren through into Maggots and Beckett's. Jay with a bit of a better line through there. Liam taking his time, being patient. He is going to have that rear wing wide open as he has DRS down this hangar straight. Up into Stowe, making a move down the inside of that McLaren. Are they going to touch? No, it's super clean racing here, but Jay goes wide. Liam getting all of that traction, staying on the circuit. They're wheel to wheel down through these last couple of turns before they finish out this lap here.
Robbo is disqualified from blocking the pit lane. I don't know what happened then.
So we've seen a disqualification from Robbo. Extreme has retired out of this race, so 2 out of the 16 drivers who began this campaign are out. You can see Robbo's car off to the side. Drivers need to be very careful coming through Abbey as that car is just off to the side. Cabicini on the hard tires. He's in 11th position right now. Not where he wants to be after such a fantastic start to this race. Of course, any contact in any situation, if the drivers are recording, they do have the ability to report that after the race. Possibilities of qualification bans, grid penalties, time penalties, post-race penalties of all sorts are available to drivers who submit video content of their incidents, and they are subject to review from our MRL stewards post-race. So
those softs are probably starting to get a little bit worn now. Slip and sliding everywhere.
Liam is just hunting down Jay right now. He just hasn't been able to make a move, but he is going to have the DRS. Is he going to make it a move up the inside, down into Stowe? He gets it done. He's into 4th right now, but Jay isn't done with him. Jay doing a very good job in that McLaren here in Silverstone. Has to slam the brakes a little bit earlier than he would have liked there. Liam has already pulled out half a second from Jay.
It's a great race so far.
It is a really great race so far.
Jay with a 3-second time penalty. Very unfortunate. They might come to bite him back.
Meanwhile, at the front of the grid right now, Luktra still within half a second of Bois. We're paying attention to all of it.
Yellow flag sector 1. Looks like Jeb and Fur. No, is a Max.
Maxim and that Alfa Romeo don't look now, but he is catching up to Jay and that McLaren, and he's looking to crash that party as soon as he can.
Luktra with another 3 seconds.
Luktra, come on, my friend. Very important to stay on circuit. Try not to exceed track at all. As we can see right now, he is going to have the DRS down the hanger straight. Hopefully he's able to catch up to that Toro Rosso, maintain a solid gap between him and third position right now. It's going to play a massive role with those penalties.
Ooh.
And Bois and Luchtra both into the pits at the same time. No undercut from either driver. Bois takes a 5-second penalty. We'll have to see if Luchtra did too. Doesn't look like he did. So, penalty for Bois and penalties from previous incidents for Luchtra, and they are going to be passed by Astrodite now as he's looking for the overcut. Liam into second, Jay into third, Maxim into fourth, Gadwin into fifth. Where are Bois and Luchtra going to come out? Is Ferge going to be able to pass the previous race leaders? Kai Bacchini off in that Williams. Not too sure what's going on with him. He was having such a fantastic beginning to this race. So it's Bois and Luchtra coming out in 6th and 7th. They got just ahead of Ferge. And they are going to have some traffic to make their way through now as Gadwin on those mediums is looking to go long. So he's into 4th position. He's looking good right now. Jay, Liam, and Astrodite currently running on those podium places all have to pit still. Things are looking good for Luchtra and Bois, for sure.
Can't wait for the final few laps between Bois and Luchtra. They look very quick, very evenly matched.
Most definitely, it's going to be quite an intense battle if they continue this pace throughout the race.
See Astrodite going to pit? No, he's not. He's going to stay out. And Liam going to stay out as well.
Jay into the pits though, so he is looking for the undercut on the drivers ahead of him. That's Liam and Astrodite staying out in the Mercedes and Haas. Gadwin, like we said before, on those mediums is staying out, so he is moving into a 3rd place position now.
Luchtra very close to the corner cut that was.
Maxim into the pits.
They come out in top.
Jay looking like he's going to come out in 8th position here. 7th position, excuse me.
Be close.
Oh, it's going to be close. Jeb on those mediums is now up into 7th position. Very nice drive from him so far.
Maxton B into the pits and CJ Virtual. Both
taking a look at the grid now. As you can see, the stops of all those drivers. Astrodite currently leading this race in the Haas. Astrodite, Liam, Gadwin are your top 3 right now. All of 3 have yet to pit. Bois and Luchtra 4th and 5th with 1 stop each. Ferge and Jeb in 6th and 7th, both yet to pit. And they are the last 2 drivers on the grid who have yet to pit. We can see there on screen, It's a Max has unfortunately had to pit twice throughout this race. Kai Bacchini most definitely had to pit prematurely, as we saw a bit of an incident with him.
Liam into the pits.
So Astrodite and Liam into the pits. We have Gadwin in 3rd on those mediums. Looks like he may be the next race leader here. And he is. On those medium tires, Astrodite and Liam both jumping onto the mediums as well. Bois and Luchtra having to push here. They're going to jump out in front of those pitting drivers. And it is now a Toro Rosso 1-2 on your screen with Luchtra in 3rd. Luchtra seems to be struggling a little bit on those mediums as he is only a 1.5 seconds behind that Toro Rosso, not like that 1/2 second we saw him earlier. So he could be feeling those tires a little bit.
Does seem to be struggling actually.
Take some time to get those tires hot, of course.
This Bois goes a little bit wide. See if we can make it some time.
Astrodite currently in 4th. He's 9.6 seconds off of the podium positions. So he is going to have to haul that car as fast as he can throughout this race. in order to make up such a significant gap. Of course, it's a long race. We're only on lap 11 out of 26 here. There is always opportunities, Lewis, as we could have safety cars throughout the remainder.
I hope so. Make it more interesting. We will have an interesting race.
Safety cars always make things spicy. Now, Liam getting an overtake here as it looks like Jeb, Liam, and Jay all fighting.
Ooh.
You can see Liam
Okay,
into
well,
sixth
well,
position here. Jay with a good run on the rear of that Mercedes. They both have the DRS. Jeb falling back into 8th position. Liam and Jay looking to make their way up through into further points positions. That is the racing point of Ferg into the pits now on the 10-lap-old softs. He is going to drop back everybody behind him. More than likely going to move up a place. Penalties definitely going to play a role here throughout the end of this race, as we saw Bois taking penalties, Lutra taking penalties. Penalties always play a significant role here at the finish of these races. Henry, whenever you have time, always a possibility to jump into that race director and take a look at what kind of penalties these front runners have. Give us a great sense of how things are going to unfold when they do end up crossing the line, if they end up crossing the line. We're just about at that halfway point, folks. Currently running on lap 12 here. Jay making his way up to P5, looking to catch up to Liam. Liam looking very quick in that Mercedes. He's currently 2.8 seconds behind Astre in 4th. We'll keep an eye on how that gap unfolds throughout the next few laps here.
Lutra has 6 seconds. Bois has 8 seconds.
So Lutra, 8 seconds in penalties.
Jay and Jeb with 3 seconds apiece.
So major penalties is going to play a role here. Given they don't serve any penalties in the pits from now and the end of the race. Of course, most of these drivers looking to go to the end on the tires they're on. The only people that have yet to stop are Jeb and Gadwin. Gadwin currently leading the race. Jeb in 7th. Gap to leader right now. You can see there the Red Bull and Williams of It's a Max and Kai Bacchini in 13th and 14th respectively there have unfortunately been lapped here, which is not the result I'm sure Kai Bacchini wanted to have in that Williams. He was looking so strong at the beginning of this race. And you can see the non-lap driver there, Matt, in 12th, currently 118 off of our leader. So he is at risk of being lapped here.
Kai was definitely a podium contender.
Most definitely. Fastest lap of this race so far, 1:30. I do believe 3 by Bois on the soft compound tires.
Looks just falling a bit back now. 1.4 off Bois.
As the grid looks to have spaced itself out quite a bit here. Kai Bacchini into the pits on the 7-lap-old hards. Hards might not have been the best decision for him.
Definitely the mediums. The tyre wears quite good runs to Silverstone. Yeah, he's gone for the mediums. Safest option.
Lutra doing everything he can to get in the DRS of that second place Bois, as Gadwin has still yet to stop. Bois and Lutra are your provisional race leaders.
Oh, and Matt's retired.
And Matt is out of the session. Let's see if we can have a look at where he may have gone off. It looks like he went out at the exit of Cops. So we have our 3rd VSC of the session here. No full safety cars yet here in Silverstone, which is extremely interesting.
Yeah, it's very strange.
We'll see if Lutra's able to get a good start here.
Yeah.
On the VSC restart. Catch up just a little bit of time to that Toro Rosso ahead of him. We'll see if Gadwin goes into the pits here. If I'm Gadwin right now, I would be jumping into that pit lane.
And he has.
And he has. So
Very
he's
smart,
gone into
very
the
smart.
pits. Very good for him on those mediums. He's more than likely going to come out on softs at this point, as the hard compound tire, I think, would be far too slow for anybody. So that is going to be Bois. We are back to green flag racing, and he is leading your race here in Silverstone on lap 15 of green flag racing action.
Can Gadrin come out in a good position?
Doesn't look like Lucha got the best out of that VSC restart here, as he's currently 1.2 behind the race leader. If he's able to stretch out the maximum performance in that car and get that pace that we saw from him throughout the first stint of this race, I have no question that he'll be able to possibly secure a race victory here,
Oh,
as he currently has less penalty points. And what's going on with Gadwin? Gadwin comes out on softs. He's currently in 6th position. So looking good for him, as he's on those super fresh softs with 11 laps to go.
Hopefully he can keep them fresh to the end of the race, otherwise they just fall off rapidly.
Definitely going to be important to monitor the tire wear. I like this race, Henry. It's very relaxed, man. You know, we had a very, very hectic few opening laps there, a couple of VSCs, but things have spaced themselves out, and this is more of what I'd be expecting from a Tier 2 race. The gaps aren't super, super tight. Everybody's pretty well evenly spaced. Of course, contact, wing changes, and pit stops all playing a role here throughout this first half. Jeb in that Haas is looking good on those 14-lap old mediums, but could we see him come into a soft tire change here at the end of lap 16? If I'm Jeb right now, look at the speed that you can see. Who is that behind him? Is that Kai Bacchini looking to unlap himself? It is. So Kai Bacchini is trying to make his way through this grid. Does a fantastic job of unlapping himself, and we see Jeb jump into the pits now to finally get off of those 14-lap old mediums. As you can see on screen, he was the last driver to pit here in this race. Maxim in 7th right now on the 6-lap old mediums is 2.7 seconds behind the 6th place runner Toro Rosso Gadwin. And this grid has spaced itself out massively here for the second phase of this race. And we still have no full safety car. I can't say we'll see the same for Tier 1 after this race, as everybody in Tier 1 races extremely hard, and it's always exciting. And of course, if Germany last week is anything to go by, we're going to have a very eventful Silverstone race.
Let's hope so. Jeb jumped out in 9th on the softs. Very good from him. Lucha 1.8 seconds now behind Bois.
So Lucha has fallen off definitely here in the second stint, as Bois sets the new fastest time of the race, a 1:30.2 on the medium compound tires, 8 laps old on those medium compounds, and he's crossing that line with a 1:30, which is fantastic speed coming out of that Toro Rosso.
Very nice for him.
For those of you guys just tuning in on stream with us, this is MRL Racing Action. It is Season 2, round number 9, the Silverstone Circuit, the British Grand Prix, of course. It is the debut race for our Tier 2 division, which is the drivers you're seeing on screen now. And immediately following this race, we are going to begin setup ahead of Tier 1, who are going to be entering their official 9th round of contention here this season.
Cannot wait.
And I am extremely excited to see how things unfold in the Tier 1 race as well. Make sure you hit that follow button. We go live with League Racing every Thursday, and it is a ton of fun. So be sure to hit that follow button. Don't miss out on any of the action. And of course, smash that Discord link down below if you are interested in joining the MRL. We are always looking for new drivers, both full-time and part-time. Reserve roles always available.
The big boss just put it in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Samus. Oh, Bois with the new fastest lap, 1:30.1. Oh, look, just fallen off now. 2.4. Everyone's very spaced out, Striff.
It is extremely spaced out, Henry, and it's hard to find wheel-to-wheel battling action right now, but Liam is doing a decent job of catching up with Astrolite. It could be a Mercedes 2-3 here, unless Lutra is able to pull up the tryhard pants and fly behind the rear of that Toro Rosso. He has 2.5 seconds to make up now. And that Toro Rosso is just absolutely sending it here. You can see he's about to catch up to another car here on circuit. That looks like the Red Bull of It's a Max. The Red Bull of It's a Max definitely struggling here throughout this race. Currently in 13th, a minute behind P12.
Very unfortunate.
Take a look at the times. Kai Bacchini has a mountain to climb.
CJ Virtual.
CJ Virtual
Spinning off.
out in Sector 1 here. Still no safety car deployment on lap 18. Things super spaced out. Jeb, though, 1.3 is the closest gap on the grid right now. He could be looking to go for a move, trying to secure an 8th position finish.
We know Jeb has the pace. Squire going to get some DRS off his Max. And is he going to get out the way? Blue flag, blue flag. Oh, that's CJ Virtual retired. Will he get out of the way in zone? It's very unfortunate for Lutra. Yeah, there you go. 5 seconds, ignoring the blue flag. Is the Max fighting with Bra for some reason? I'm not sure quite why. As Lucha comes over a set pair of softs. I don't know what happened to him. Kai Bacchini with a 5-second penalty for ignoring the blue flag. Not the first race he wanted to see.
And I've just realized my mic was muted, but I was keeping a close eye on Jeb there. Ferg goes wide. Jeb back into 8th position.
I did think that might be the case, Drift.
My mic was definitely muted. But we saw a bit of an exchange of positions there between Jeb and Ferg. Ferg in 9th right now. Looking to catch back up to Jeb. Jeb, 4-lap old softs. Lutra, 5.2 seconds away from P6 on the fresh soft compound tires as he gets those warm. Moving down into Stowe. This grid is super spaced out.
It is. I'm trying to find a battle, but
You know, first race for these guys. I understand everybody wanted to take it easy. We only had a few major incidents and no full safety cars here yet. 5 laps remaining. Juicebox takes a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings.
Bois is now 18 seconds ahead of second place. Looks like he's going to run away with this. See if Liam catch up to Astrotype P2. 2.6 seconds now behind. That has.
Now, don't forget, guys, if you're along for this race here, this is our Tier 2 division, and following this race, we are going to have our Tier 1 boys doing battle at 5 o'clock Central. So it's currently 3:55 or 3:50, it's 3:55 Central right now. So in about an hour and 5 minutes, we're going to see the the Tier 1 drivers take to the circuit.
Looked with the fastest lap. 1:29.5. So it looks like he's going to get a fastest lap. Get that extra point on the board. As he does in the softs.
It's an interesting idea from Luktra. If he had that front wing damage, of course, 100% I understand his reasoning behind pitting. But if he didn't have wing damage, I think that him maintaining the position he was in ahead of Astrodite may have been a bigger haul of points here. But of course, he does have a few more laps remaining here to catch up some positions. He's only 1.8 seconds behind P6 right now.
The softs as well. Very fast.
He is on the softs. He's going fast. And that fastest point may come into play here. Very good for him. And, you know, it isn't a one-off race. It is a long season, and that point could make the difference between a Constructors' Championship down the line. I mean, his teammate Liam right now doing a fantastic job in third.
Gadwin is doing well, actually. P5. 7 laps on the softs. He's hoping to pull it out of the bag. 3 laps to go.
Gadwin has had a fantastic drive here so far. He's been keeping things relatively clean throughout the race. I don't think we saw him in any collisions. He went very long on those medium compound tires, switched onto these softs, and I do believe at the end of the race he'll be 11 laps old on those soft compound tires.
Also, Jeb up 8 places. Remember he started P16. Also, Maxime B started. He's gained 7 places.
One thing to note, Kai Bacchini is currently running in 11th place right now on 9-lap-old medium tires. He's 30 seconds away from Juicebox on the 19-lap-old hards. Do you think that inside of 3 laps, there is even the slightest possibility we may see Kai Bacchini back into the points here? And if we do, I will say this. Fantastic job from him. So that is, I do believe, Kai Bacchini's goal here. He wants to get back into the points.
I don't think he will, but I'll let him try.
Luktra and Maxim fighting through Maggots and Beckett's here. We see Luktra. He's jumped ahead of Maxim here. Luktra on those super quick soft tires. Maxim on the 13-lap-old mediums.
Jeb and Ferjay, side by side. Oh, Jeb ghosted a bit then. Through cops, they keep it clean. CJ. Very nice. Clean racing there.
Ferjay doing a great job right now, keeping that racing point out in front on those mediums. Jeb on the quicker tires at the moment. Catches a little bit of grass. Took a penalty there, exceeding the limits. Multiple warnings. Now it's Jeb and Ferge drag racing. Jeb with the DRS makes a move down inside the front of the racing point. Ooh, and there goes Ferge. He's spun Jeb into 8th position here. Ferge not having the battle, that didn't go his way for sure. That is what I'll say there. That did not go his way for sure. It was a nice, clean, neat, tidy battle, but he definitely lost out. Jeb maintaining that 8th place position. Liam, 1.8 seconds is the gap between him and Astrodate.
Kai Bacchini with another 3 seconds. Very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate for Kai, of course. 4 drivers out of this race. We see Robbo in the Alfa Romeo Extreme in the Ferrari, Matt in the McLaren, and CJ Virtual in the Racing Point, all out of this race. Robbo.
Yellow flag sector 1.
Ooh, and there goes Juicebox.
So
something has happened.
Kai Bacchini will catch him.
So long race, like I've been saying this whole campaign, and it looks like Kai Bacchini may, as a result of that, get that last point.
Very lucky. Oh, look where he spun. It's very strange.
So Kai Bacchini into the points now. And depending on when Bois crosses that finish line to enter the final lap of the race, we will maybe see Issa Max into the 11th position.
He's got 1 minute 50 to make up. Luxra's definitely catching to Gadwin now.
Right
Under 2
now,
seconds.
it's looking like Bois' race to win,
It is indeed.
but we're looking at Luxra. 1.7 seconds behind P5 right now. I do believe, and we will check, that he is still hanging on to that point for fastest lap, and he is a 129.5 on those
Penalties, well.
softs. Penalties at the end of this race going to play a large role here. Astrodate in 2nd place as well. Might have to fight off a fast Liam here. It's a Max now moving up into 11th position as the 5 drivers who are out of this race. Juicebox, CJ, Matt, Extreme, and Robbo. You can see there on the timing tower. Luxra gaining on Gadwin. Gadwin starting to feel those 11-lap-old softs, Henry. Like we said, he was going to be feeling them on the last lap of this race.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, he's DRS open for Luxra. See if he can make that move down Wellington Straight.
Coming down through
no
Luffield.
stops.
You can just see the amazing traction coming out of that Mercedes compared to the Toro Rosso here. Luxra up the inside of Gadwin. Is Gadwin going to give him the space? A little bit of contact there. Gadwin off to the side. They're wheel to wheel coming down into Cops now. Luxra out in front.
Oh, very nice from. Oh, another 3 seconds from Luxra.
Luxra needs to keep that car on circuit. Of course, strict corner cutting penalties are being enforced. And that is Bois finishing the Silverstone circuit in 1st. It is the British Grand Prix winner for Tier 2, Bois in the Toro Rosso.
Spun. Oh no.
Gadwin feeling those softs, he's spun. Maxim passes him into 6th, and that's Luxra into 5th. We have Liam crossing the line in 3rd, Astrodite in the Haas in 2nd, and Jay now rounding the final corner. He comes home in 4th for McLaren. Luxra in 5th. Maxim now.
Wait for his penalties.
Many is he going to finish 6th?
Yes.
No, he jumps into 5th. So Luxra into 6th. After a fantastic drive from him, he had to pit for that wing later on in the race. He was running in 2nd for majority of this campaign. Gadwin crossing the line after a terrible spin here on the final lap. He's looking to finish 7th. We'll have to see if penalties play a role here. I don't think they will. Jeb looking to come home in 8th. Ferg in 9th. Kai Bacchini crosses that line in 10th to secure the final point on the grid. Very unfortunate race for Kai Bacchini, as he had a fantastic qualifying position. A great couple of opening laps there. A little bit of contact with, I do believe it was Liam. But that is going to wrap up the debut race for our Tier 2 drivers. And in about 45 minutes, we are going to see the Tier 1 drivers take to the grid. For those of you in the chat wondering why Luke pitted, I do believe he may have come into contact with a retired vehicle of CJ Virtual in that racing point. We'll have to discuss after the race, and we'll get more information for you about that heading into next week's Monza, round number 10. But this is the grid. Bois wins the race, Aphrodite in second, Liam in third, Jay in fourth, Maxim in fifth. Luke finishes sixth after a hectic race. You can see he started on second. Maxim, 13th to 5th. Very good job from the Canadian driver. I know I'm happy about that. And Liam in third as another Canadian. I will be biased and say good job to those two. Gadwin finishing in 7th. He had a fantastic race. He jumps up 2 positions from where he started in 9th. That medium starting tire strategy working out good for him. Jeb in 8th. Fergie in 9th.
Well
Kai Bacchini getting that final point. Not the race he wanted to have here, as you can see there. He was lapped throughout this race, but unfortunately, due to the spin of Juicebox, he was able to secure that final point. He started this race in 3rd. That rounds off your top 10. It's a Max in 11th, Juicebox in 12th. Without being able to finish this race, CJ, Matt, Extreme, Robbo, all unable to finish that race. And that is going to wrap up the Tier 2 Silverstone race for MRL Season 2. Which I have to say, I'm quite impressed with how that race went, Henry. What do you think?
It was an excellent race, really. Lots of some great battles going on. But I just run away at the end there. 20 seconds ahead of the rest, really.
So now, real quick, we're going to take a look at the calendar. We have seen our Tier 1 drivers visit the first 8 circuits you can see on calendar right now. Abu Dhabi all the way through into Germany for round number 8 that we had last week. Now, with today, we saw the debut of our Tier 2 drivers here in Silverstone, which means that because they debuted at Silverstone, they are going to be following along with the rest of the calendar with our Tier 1 drivers, which means after this week, next week, we're going to see Tier 2 back in Monza. That's right, the Temple of Speed. It is going to be the Italian Grand Prix for round number 10. Following that, of course, we are going to be going into rounds 11 through 17, which are Belgium, Hungary, Bahrain, Azerbaijan, Australia, Mexico, and the iconic Suzuka circuit in Japan to round things off for the championship for both our Tier 2 and Tier 1 drivers. So, it was absolutely crazy racing today in Tier 2. Don't go too far, because in about 40 minutes or so, we are going to be right back here on the twitch.tv/Misfits Racing League page for all of you to enjoy the Tier 1 driving here for the British Grand Prix, round number 9 of Season 2. So, grab a drink, go to the washroom, grab a bite to eat, do what it is you do, and we will see you guys back here in just a few in just a short time, about a half an hour, and we will be back live for Tier 2 action. I will be joined by Mikau for that, of course. And Henry, thank you so much for commentating today, my friend. It was great, a great cast with you. I was super excited to see those Tier 2 drivers today. How did you feel? Your first commentating experience here for MRL?
It was good. My first commentary. Well, I was a bit scared coming in, but it worked out well, I suppose.
I think things went great, and I think that was a fantastic race, of course, guys. Give a big, congrats to our drivers. If you're new to the stream, make sure you hit that follow button, and you will know when we go live next. Of course, we are going to be live, like I said just a few seconds ago, in about 40 minutes' time for our Tier 1 race. Be sure to hit that follow button so you don't miss the action. And, of course, hit us up on Twitter, YouTube, and Discord. If you are interested in joining the Misfits Racing League as a reserve driver or a full-time driver, we are always looking for new drivers. So hit that Discord link, message one of us moderators or admins, and we will be sure to set you up with getting yourself racing here on stream.
Make sure you follow.
Follow for sure. And of course, you can subscribe for an ad-free viewing experience as well. BTFU, thank you for the gifted sub to Matt earlier on today and the gifted subs throughout the season. That is going to wrap it up here for Tier 2 racing action, as I'm sure a couple friends of mine want me to shut up so they can tell me about how their race went. But we are going to be live again shortly, guys, so don't go too far. My name is Strifium. joining me, Henry, and we will see you guys later today. Henry, of course, who commentated with me, is going to be racing in the Tier 1 Championship. So if you guys enjoyed Henry's commentating, make sure you come back and follow him throughout his race later on. We will see you guys later, and we got something super fun and exciting in store for you come the race start as well.